Sean Penn's secretive interview with El Chapo for Rolling Stone raises so many troubling questions, but apparently not so troubling for the mainstream media. When I was reading about this on Sunday morning in the New York Times and the Washington Post, there wasn't even a sentence, even a phrase, raising questions about the circumstances under which this interview took place. And then on Monday morning, the Times roused itself to do a piece on the ethics, but it was sort of like, questions have been raised about the ethics. Let's call up experts on both sides and see. You could just tell that the Times didn't really take this all that seriously. So let's review why this is kind of an outrage, and Marco Rubio, the presidential candidate, calling the interview grotesque. First of all, for Rolling Stone to give El Chapo, a notorious international drug trafficker and mass murderer, veto power over the article, to let him approve it in advance. I don't like that even when it's done for a minor league politician, but to do it for as notorious a figure as El Chapo is just makes me ill. I mean, really. And now the Rolling Stone says that he didn't actually exercise that veto power, but just making that offer. And then Jann Wenner, the founder of Rolling Stone, interviewed by the New York Times for this piece, seemed mostly to be concerned not about the journalism or about the article, but about protecting the privacy, protecting the secrecy, protecting the safety of El Chapo. Here's a quote from Wenner. "I was worried that I did not want to provide the details that would be responsible for his capture. We were very conscientious on our end, and we made sure we didn't have any information to give them other than what we published. We would have done everything that a traditional journalism operation would have done in terms of protecting sources." So is this really the top priority for Rolling Stone? And as it turns out, the interview did kind of lead Mexican authorities to find out where they had been, which provided clues to his eventual capture. But then you have the article itself, 10,000 words, a lot of it about Sean Penn, and this is pretty self-indulgent. I know he's not a journalist, he's an actor who dabbles in journalism, but the tone in which, way in which El Chapo was treated, highly sympathetic, calling him a mythic figure, a figure in Mexican folklore, a Robin Hood-like figure who just provides services to the poor, kind of almost papering over the fact that this was one of the world's most wanted men who had twice busted out of a Mexican prison. I mean, it's really just unbelievable. And then there was this video interview in which Sean Penn's questions were asked by a translator. And, you know, do you like to engage in violence, or is that only a last resort? And El Chapo gets to say, "Oh, I only protect myself. I never stir up any trouble," which is demonstrably untrue and just simply ludicrous. So for Rolling Stone, which his reputation was so battered by that abomination of a story, the fictional story we now know of an alleged gang rape at the University of Virginia, to come back with this piece, shrouded in secrecy, protecting El Chapo, sympathetic to one of the world's most notorious narcotics dealers, I think is really not journalism. It's something, but it's not journalism.